Hello, and welcome back. Thought I'd bring you another PvP video here. We're looking at kind of just Arms Warrior play, and we're going to look into the rotation, the Rend rotation, the Rend build, what makes it so good, how to build pressure with it, because it's something I didn't really cover it that deeply when I went through the rotations for the new 7.2.5, mainly because there was one build that was like massively good at the beginning that immediately got nerfed, so that it's essentially just not useful anymore. That's a Mortal Kombat build. So now we're using the Ren build. And I find I've been talking to some warriors, some like low-rated warriors, some other people who almost don't use it to its full potential, and it does have a really strong DPS pressure and ways that you can like pressure healers in it. So I'm going to go through this quick game of threes and kind of show you what I'm talking about. And then at the end, I'm going to kind of recap it and give you a couple of tips on how to practice it. So here I'm actually playing Warrior Lock Pally. I mean, it's not like a Shaman would probably be better, but like we used a Pally, it was working well. So what you're essentially wanting to do when you're playing this spec is you're spreading a bit of pressure by putting Rends on multiple targets when they have Colossus Smash, or like they don't necessarily have to have the Colossus Smash, but it's useful if they do. So in that original open, I'm going to peel and kind of just putting Rends out where I can, making sure I get Colossus Smash up by spreading it with the Wall Breaker, because that's a really handy way of doing it. So say you put two Rends up on like two targets and you Wall Breaker, and then they immediately have Colossus Smash as well, and then you swap immediately to the healer, and then you put your Colossus Smash and your Rend on there, and use your Shattered Defensives Mortal Strike to hit them. So the single target pressure is there from Rend, does a lot of damage, but that also creates spread pressure when you have it on multiple targets. Your single target rotation still stems around the Colossus Smash to Mortal Strike, and then slamming if there's just one target there. But it's really crucial to have that Rend on and be spreading it around when you can. That's like the heart of the creation of the pressure with this build. It's going from one target when you're making that swap, making sure that you leave a Rend, preferably with a Colossus Smash, up on them when you swap to the target. So when I swap to the healer here, I've left Rends with Colossus Smashes up, done some damage onto the DPS, as you can see. They've taken a bit of damage on their health. I also have my lock beating into them, putting a whole load of dots up. So then I get onto this Paladin and start pressuring him, so it's going to be difficult for him to heal them, while also trying to keep himself up and juking and things like that. And he can't dispel the Warlock stocks as easy. So like we get in there and we pressure him with stuns, and then DR stuns, and then we have Sharpened Blade, which is really crucial to use as a means of like just screwing with the Pally and making it so we can get kills. So it's not one thing when you're playing the Rend build, you can also think, oh, I need to be putting up Rends all the time and just be rending absolutely everything, and then you actually ignore a huge amount of DPS that you get out of your Mortal Strikes. So it's crucial to just maintain a steady application of Rends, but also not forgetting to use your single target rotation, because you get the MS effect goes on, you get a lot of single target, because the single target there is what got the bubble, the Pally's bubble, and also the DPS is all low. So by pressuring the Pally, we're making him use huge cooldowns, and also the other DPS is getting low while we're pressuring the Pally. So nobody's really safe, and we can just swap a lot, which is a really good scenario to be playing in when you're playing threes, because for most healers, especially lower rated healers, they cannot spread heal very well at all. And even when you're high rated healer, spread healing is difficult, especially when there's somebody on you. And your Rends can't be dispelled, do a significant amount of damage, and and then you just swap to a healer and you start pressuring him, and he's like, do I heal myself or do I heal my DPS? And they have to worry about you kicking them, the warlock kicking twice. If you have a shaman, then the shaman kick as well, and shaman purges. There's not a whole lot they can do, and this is why this comp, but also specifically this DPS rotation is really good. This rotation works. This build and rotation works really well in 2s as well, and that's an amazing place to practice it mainly. So here, I just swap onto the DPS because Pally obviously bubbles, and we see the sack go into the DK. So as soon as I know that the Pally bubble is down, I apply my Colossus Smash and my Rend to the DK, and I'm looking to swap back onto this Pally, especially if I can get it in a stun. So I didn't have a charge, so I didn't like immediately charge over, and didn't want to race my heroic leap because I can use it later, and I knew I had pressure up. So the sack was up with the Colossus Smash, doing damage to the Pally. Swap to the Pally, trying to get this Colossus Smash with this Rend up in the stuns. Probably will DI stun the Pally, and then put a sharpened blade on him so he can't heal himself. And then you put the Rend on, and then you're looking to get this single target rotation in, start executing, and you can execute twice, and then it's a improved Mortal Strike after that, or you can execute once and then put a sharpened blade Mortal Strike into him, which most of the time will kill because it hits about the same amount, if not more, than an execute. And then you go off and you look at, we connect back to the DPS, and we look at the both significant, like they're very low. This game wasn't going to go on much longer, even if we hadn't killed the Pally. There wasn't much you could do. So when we're looking at this build, it's a very simple build, but there are ways that you can make mistakes and forget to create loads of pressure. So one of those ways is, like, as we said, if you focus too heavily on Rends, like, just because you're spec'd into Rend doesn't mean that needs to be the thing that you're doing all the time. It's going to be one of your highest, if not your highest damage, always, but it shouldn't be your only damage. You need to be using your Mortal Strikes with the Shattering Defenses as your main source of single target burst, because you're starting to hit these big hits. A healer will have to start healing himself because he's feeling the pressure, or a DPS is going to have to start using their cooldowns, while everything else is also additionally getting spread pressure. So don't focus too much on spreading the Rend too many times. 2 targets is good. You don't need the third. The third is kind of just gravy if they're like just right next to you. A really good way to practice this is in 2s. I think I might have some, and I might bring that out and make a video about it, kind of looking at the whole practicing in 2s aspect. But in 2s, you want to be swapping targets a lot. So you're beating on one target. Let's say you're on the DPS, you're peeling him off your healer a bit. You see a scenario where you can swap to the healer in a stun. You put your Colossus Smash up, you put your Rend up, you swap to the healer, you stun him, you get your Colossus Smash and your Rend up, and you also see a single target DPSing him with your Mortal Strikes and stuff like that. And you're looking to get kicks whenever you can, and putting your Sharpened Blade up, and then you swap back to the DPS if he pops a major defensive cooldown, or he runs around a pillar, and you eventually just keep bouncing back and forth, and they're going to really feel the pressure of that. If not, even in that scenario, you might just kick him and he's dead. Like, you can get that, especially in 2s when dampening is so high. So in this scenario, it's really important to be using your Rends, but not overusing it, and also not ignoring your single target rotation. Now, good times to pop Battle Cry. People often want to use their Battle Cry when they're like hitting the Mortal Strikes, which is really good, but also you need to remember that your Rend is going to tick amazingly hard when you pop your Battle Cry, so it starts hitting for like 250k a tick, and if you have that on a couple of people, it's going to be ridiculous. Or if you manage to get it on 3 people and they're all stacked up, you Warbreaker, then Bladestorm everyone, it's going to be a huge amount of damage going out. So even if you use your Battle Cry and you have like 2 seconds where you're getting to another target, as long as you have the 2 Rends up, you're going to be doing a lot of damage. You don't need to be on that target entirely the whole time to get your single target DPS out, and that's the only reason it's good. You can have, because like if you pop your battle cry late and say you get your Mortal Strike on him and then a slam, but you miss 2 ticks of Rend because it's already come off in your alternate target, it's better to have those 2 ticks of Rend and then get your Colossus Smash Mortal Strike off, and then your slam is not critted, rather than missing like a significant amount of pressure on the alternate target. So this, like, by no means was a perfect match. I was kind of just playing this. This is my alt warrior that I've now got to 2k as well. I'm looking to push a bit further, but I'm struggling to find teams that I can like progress much further with. I've just ended up getting loads of alts to 2k and stuff like that recently. I'm going to be trying to get more of these videos out, but I'm going to be away in Asia for a month, and it's going to be difficult for me to sort of PvP at a higher rating because my MS is going to be a bit higher. But if this was useful, thumbs up the video and subscribe, because I'm going to try and get more stuff like this. If you have any questions, ask them in the comments. Join the Discord, which is also going to be in the description. Tweet at me any questions you need or anything that you think you want me to cover. I could get on that straight away. Appreciate you all, and peace.